Hello, welcome back to another update of my dividend investing portfolio. So if you're new to the channel, I'm a Canadian investor buying primarily dividend paying stocks on the Toronto Stock Exchange. I'm using Wealthsimple Trade to buy and sell the stocks, which by the way, you can get 2 free stocks if you want to try it out. There's a link in the description below. And I'm tracking everything with this custom Google Sheet that I made myself, which basically tracks a lot of the performance of the account, displays some nice sector and holdings pie charts, dividends by month, and a lot of basic information for the whole account and for each individual position. I find it pretty helpful to track all of these things because Wealthsimple Trade, as great as it is, just doesn't give you necessarily all of this information. So anyways, my portfolio is now sitting at $47,700 and I'm at a total gain of about $2,500. This is down from last week, I think about $800 or something like that. But that's not too concerning. This jumps up and down all the time. The previous week it was like up 1,000 and now it's down. So I'm not trying to get too worried about that. And in fact, there's actually been some good options or opportunities to buy stocks as a lot of the market has decreased lately. But on a later note, more positive note, last month, actually not last month, this month, July, which isn't even over yet, has been by far my best month for dividends yet. I've already pulled in pretty much $170, and I know that there's a few more still that are going to come, which are going to push me a little bit over that for this month. So that's just awesome. And this is such a big spike compared to the previous months because if you have been following along, or if not, basically about a month ago or something like that, I doubled my portfolio. So I put in about $25,000 because I had it. Just long story short, it was available. And now finally, this is the first month where we're seeing the effects of those dividends because I bought a lot of monthly paying dividend stocks, basically REITs, real estate stocks. And because they pay monthly and refresh monthly, it only took basically a month for me to really feel that impact. But yeah, other good news, the overall estimated dividend annual income for this account is now over $2,000. That's just pure passive income that I can expect to get no matter what, basically, as long as I hold these stocks and these companies decide to keep paying dividends, which isn't necessarily guaranteed, but it's pretty likely. And this is actually really great because at the end of the last video I made, this was under $2,000. It was at something like 1,980 or something like that, and it's gone up $40 without me buying any new stocks, and that's really cool. And that's something that I like about dividends because this is from Dividend Growth. If we take a look in here in the portfolio, it came from a couple companies. I can't remember exactly which ones. I think it was Smart Centers and maybe Allied Properties or H&R. I can't remember which one, but anyways, a couple of them increased their dividend. And this, I'm actually not tracking the forward annual dividend. I'm tracking the trailing 12 months. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, because they're pretty close to each other. But basically, in the last 12 months, there has been an increase in some of these, and they're just naturally growing. So even if I don't deposit any more money into the account, these are just going to slowly grow over time as these companies decide to grow, and my annual passive income is going to increase. It'll also increase as I deposit more and buy more stocks, but it just is very cool that it just grows by itself as well. And if I reinvest that money, you know, the new stocks that I buy are going to compound as well. They're just going to keep like growing and growing out of control, and that's exactly what we're looking for here. So $2,000 per year is awesome, but it definitely is on track to continue getting bigger and bigger. Now, I mentioned the account is down somewhere between $500 to $1,000, I think, and you can see a lot of the gains losses actually have been quite decreased. For example, just some that I'm picking out. I know that previously in the last video I was in the green on Manulife, and now I'm not. Same with Northwest Health, and you can see some pretty big drops here in Cineplex and Data Communications. Those ones are just whatever. Try not to think about them. I'm just going to hang on to those for a long time and see what happens. It's a bit of an experiment. But basically, a lot of these companies have kind of been reduced in the last few days, and that's basically why I'm seeing losses, not losses, but like a decrease in the portfolio. But I did take this opportunity to buy into a new position. So let's jump into Wealthsimple Trade and take a look. And actually, if we look here in the last day, yeah, you can see down $922 in a day. Ouch. I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, if we kind of skim through here, we can see, okay, recently we're not doing so well, but we're basically up over time. Up a few $1,000s, and basically that's the trend that I'm hoping it will continue, and not too worried about it either way. But the stock or company that I added today is none other than CNR, Canadian National Railways. So when we look at these guys in the last 5 years, they're up basically 60%. which is great. That's the kind of growth that I like to see. But in the last year, they're actually down 0.42%. So I'm actually slightly better off buying it today than I would have been if I bought it a year ago, I guess minus the dividends. But for what it's worth, it looks like we might be in a little bit of a dip here. But what I did basically, if we come down here, I bought 3 shares. So a total value of $387. I'm trying to get my positions, I'm kind of shooting to have them all over $1,000 each. So this is by no means the total amount that I want to have in this company, but I thought I'm just going to drop in 3 shares because A, that's how much money I had available, to buy, and B, I thought I'm just going to kind of average in or just test it a little bit, because if it continues to drop, if it drops another 5% or something, then I'll probably buy some more. And if it just goes right back on a, its little rampage that it's been on, then that's okay too. I'll happily take my approximately 12% per year plus dividends, so that's pretty nice. And by the way, they do yield 1.81%, and yeah, they're just, as you may know or have seen them, a big rail company. Now if we jump into Yahoo Finance as well, you can see the all-time view here. So they're doing pretty well overall. Since the 90s, they've just been going up. We do have some not so great signals here. We have the 1-year estimate being lower than its current price, which who knows, that could happen. We can see here that their last annual earnings is a little bit down. Same with the revenue. Basically, their earnings have been declining, and their revenue finally has decreased a little bit as well. And we got a bunch of random information in here. So those are things that I just kind of quickly skim through. I don't entirely base my decision off of what the Yahoo Finance pulls in for their stuff, but it's just always good to check and kind of have a good idea, a few different things of what's going on with these companies. But back in the spreadsheet, what I want to do now is I want to log this transaction. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom here and just type it in. So we had TSECNR. And today was July 19th, 2021. About 3 shares, each at a price of $129.22. And I paid no trading commissions, and it was in Canadian dollars. So that puts me at a value of $387.66, which was the total amount that I paid. I always double check that this is correct to make sure that the sheet doesn't get out of sync with what's going on in my actual portfolio. And now that I've also started a new position, the next thing I need to do here is come into the portfolio tab and make room for it by basically adding it in. So the way that I do this, if you're using the spreadsheet, you can maybe choose to do it this way as well. It's up to you. But I'm going to sort this A to Z. So basically this is like the chronological order that I have these shares in. It just basically helps me count. I guess I could count here and -1. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to drop this in 32. This is probably industrials, I'm guessing. It doesn't really matter. This is for my own reference. I'm just going to drop this in as TSECNR. So everything is going to just recalculate there. And basically you can see this green line here too. This is like what we use for the filtering of the table. So I'm going to turn off the filter. And then I'm going to click somewhere inside all of these numbers on any cell and click on the filter button again. And now it's going to include CNR here. So if I wanted to maybe sort now by percentage of holding, putting the biggest ones at the top, then we're going to see that CNR definitely does get included in this, and it's already not my smallest position, which is cool with me. And we're up 9 cents since purchasing, so perfect, why not? So yeah, the last thing to do now that I've done all that is just come back to the summary page, and I pretty much want to double check what's going on here with the annual dividend income. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, it was around $2,028, and now we're at $2,035. So basically my annual income has increased by $7 per year, which might not sound like a lot, but like you saw at the beginning, it just increased by itself by $40 for me doing nothing, and then another $7 for me adding in just these 3 stocks. And I'm going to come back in later in the week and buy some more stocks, and then these are just going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and this number is just going to keep on growing and growing and growing, and that's just great. That's the whole point of this basically. So guys, anyways, if you liked this update, make sure you just drop a thumbs up in the video and leave a comment down below with what you think. Do you actually own CNR or any railway stocks? I'd be curious to know. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the comments.